It looks like a border, but it's actually a checkpoint between Georgia and Russian-controlled South Ossetia, and we're not allowed to cross. In fact, nobody gets through here. Makvala Katsitadze is one of many who have tried to reach Tskhinvali, the capital of the breakaway province.
I wanted to go and see how my relatives were doing. They're old and I have no idea how they are, whether or not they're alive and still have a roof over their heads. But the soldiers stopped me.
She's heard nothing from her relatives for the last half year. Close by is the village of Ernyeti. The locals managed to get out in time before the village was reduced to rubble. Few have returned to the place they once called home.
The government says they won't rebuild our homes. Instead, they want to build refugee cabins. But they only have space for 3 or 4 people. And we have 7 in our family. Where will we go?
If our government thinks we'll live in these 24 square metre huts, they're mistaken. We'll burn in these huts. We want our old homes back.
Sirana and Gurami Kasradze worked hard all their lives and built a modest livelihood. Now their future is literally in ruins.
What can I say? Everything we worked hard for was torched by the Russians and Ossetians.
They drove us out too.
This is how we live now. It really hurts.
The walls are all that remain of Georgi Dvalishvili's house. The television was incinerated, as was the bed. Above the bed, a picture of the Virgin Mary, a wooden crucifix, and the portrait of Christ emerged unscathed. But few other possessions could be saved. We continue to Gori and see one refugee settlement after the other. Since the conflict ended, Georgia has been supplied with thousands of these temporary shelters by Europe and the US. Gori wasn't damaged too badly during the conflict, although it was occupied by Russian forces for 2 weeks. Not surprisingly, locals are afraid of what could happen next time.
If you see what happened here, it makes me scared that it could happen again.
I was born and bred here. I live here. I'm staying until I die.
The conflict with Russia had been brewing for years. Georgia's pro-Western government has plenty of opponents in the country. Meanwhile, Moscow appears determined to maintain its influence in the Caucasus. Georgia's economy is dependent on agricultural exports, but a Russian embargo on imports introduced 3 years ago has hit the country hard. We travel on to Asureti. The village's winemaking heritage has its roots in the ethnic German population who used to live here before being deported to Siberia by Stalin. Like his fellow vintners, Zaur Kobeshavidze has been suffering under the embargo, and now he's lost his roof.
We had to stop production. We've made serious losses and we'll need a lot of money to get things back on track.
The roof wasn't particularly sturdy, but it was brought down by Russian bombardment of a nearby military airbase. The owner says he'll rebuild it.
We'll do the wine tasting in this hall, which we renovated specially for the tourists. It's almost like a museum after all.
The wine he produces still has its original German name, Schalltraube. He raises a toast to the future and to peace. It's late by the time we arrive in Tbilisi. The capital seems like a world away, busy streets and bright lights everywhere. The better off have one luxury label after another to choose from here, while senior citizens sell pumpkin seeds and nuts to make ends meet. What are we to live off, this woman asks. Her pension is the equivalent of 35 euros.
We're forced to sell things on the street. Then at least we can bring a few pennies home.
Life appears to be continuing as usual in Tbilisi. Georgians tend to be upbeat, but many are still left thinking when the next attack might come. The threat is ever present in their minds. The statue of Mother Georgia overlooking the capital stands as a fitting symbol of the country's situation. In the one hand, she bears a bowl of wine to welcome friends. In the other, she holds a sword.